tell you what, you better take any distinction you can get. I know that. And that's kind of the point of our whole offense. Try to zero in on what you're good at and just do that, you know. And so, worst dress is pretty much what I'm good at. The first thing that, and we kind of got some attention for this last year. You know, I mean, I was getting questions like, well, you guys invented this. We didn't invent any of this stuff. But as a matter of fact, my first year in coaching ever, I was at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and they had, there's this tape laying around there. And we just come in as a new staff, and there's an Amherst College tape, and Amherst College, for an entire half, ran kind of this bastard formation and marched up and down the field with it. And so what I'm going to draw up is a deal we call ninja. Now, there's all kinds of names for it. There's, you know, Florida calls it Emory and Henry, and I've heard doodad formation, all that business. And our objective wasn't to be like Amherst College. It wasn't even really to be a big part of our offense. The point of this thing really was just to create as much psychological damage to the defense as possible. And after having done it this way this year, you know, I think really every week ought to come up with something, or maybe have something and build on it. But what this deal is, the way we did it for the most part, this guy here's a tackle. This guy here's X receiver. This guy here's a slot receiver. Okay, we got a tackle over here. And we'd line up like that. The other thing is on a recruiting tape, I saw Evangel College do, or Evangel High School do some of this stuff. And how we arrived at this deal, we just we drew it up, figured it'd be fun for the players, which it was. They kind of enjoyed it, and we did it several times in practice. And then we you know, just figured we'd break it out. And my whole objective of the whole thing was to go out there, run it 2 snaps, and get the defensive coordinator, whoever's on the other side, to go over there and start screaming at his kids. And so I wanted him to go over there and have that little sideline speech where he draws shit up and he says, now look out for this, look out for that, do the other thing, and you make sure you do this. And I just wanted to clutter their heads up. And then come to find out, after talking to some of them, even when we weren't real successful with this, you know, it was something that they had to spend all kinds of time dealing with, working on, and all the rest. And so if it wasn't successful at all, if we just ran it twice, I would have been more than happy with it. And I still think it's worth it, because I think it gives them something else to deal with. It's really pretty easy for us, and was almost a little bit recreational in a way for, you know, for our offensive players. And the other thing about it was we went into it with about 3 plays a game was all we planned to do. But if you're on the other side of the ball, you know, shit, the sky's the limit as far as, you know, in their mind, they don't know what the hell you're going to do. I mean, you can do a whole lot of stuff out of that, and they just have to deal with all kinds of unknowns. And all we're looking for here is, it's almost like when it comes to field goal PAT, something like that, where you're just looking for matchups. You're just trying to see how many they've got where. Now, the biggest key on the thing is you've got to check it, because you don't know where they're going to line up. You got no idea how they're going to line up to it. But you know, but if they do something like this, and bottom line, anytime they had 3 in the box, we were either going to run it or show pass it. And then, you know, a lot of times it'd go like this. missing where they're sticking their people here, but because you really don't know. But what you're looking for is, what do I got? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they've got some other guy. Or and usually they put this joker to the field, you know, like end right here, see? And so you don't know how they're going to line up, but really all you're looking for on this thing is if they have and we run it to 4 in the box just because we had enough space here that we felt like we could get away with it. First off, this part right here, if they had 3 or 4 in the box, we'd run it, we'd shuttle pass it, and then we also did this where we'd run a little angle route right here, and then just throw it to this guy, you know. And then out here, anytime we only had 2 people, we'd throw the screen to this guy. You know, we just pop up and throw it to him, and these guys would all block somebody. Now, the one thing when you put in something like this that's different, I think your execution level is going to go down. So I think you have to have it real simple. Like one thing, you know, at times, yeah, this tackle's standing here on air and stuff like that, but he's at a spot where he's not used to being. And so, I mean, yeah, it's obvious he should block that guy. You think he'd block that guy, but that just doesn't always happen. And then the other thing is there's 2 here. We throw to this guy. We also had a little deal where he'd roll out and we'd slant here and we'd fade here and still have this guy sitting here. And, you know, we'd come out with 3 plays. Basically, we had the run or the shuttle pass. We had the screen. We ran vertical, and that's all we had. And our time on it was real limited because we just kept it to simple little plays, and we just stacked this stuff up, and he just counted out, and sometimes he'd make a good check, and sometimes he didn't. But as unfamiliar as we were with it, they were even more unfamiliar with it as far as how they're going to deal with it. We've got some film on it, just to kind of give you the idea, and you know, I would have all kinds of coaching points on the thing if we actually had coached very much on it, but we just kind of lined up. You think I'm kidding? We just lined up and did it, and just figured we'd see how it would work. And quite honestly, I thought we'd do it. One week, and that was it. And really, the whole point of this whole thing is no matter what you do, it's this one. No matter what you do, if you go out there and if it's easy enough on you, and you can get 1 or 2 things in that are going to cause them to deal with a whole lot, think about a lot, and you can imagine cumulatively over the season how much you can potentially put on somebody.
How many times a game, Mike?
It just varies. Anywhere.
You're always going to run it once, twice every game?
I wouldn't say, we probably did it 5 games worth.
Yeah.
And then, and you know, in hindsight, looking back, because I hadn't done much of this, you know, really, or any of this little mix-up stuff, but in hindsight, should have come up with something new every week, just something real simple, something new every week, just to let them mess with it, you know, or just show it to them once, and really just to line up in it. Like here, this is the first week, and you'll see some developmental problems with this whole thing. This is against Texas. We ended the day, we figured out we averaged 7 yards of play on it that we ran. I want to say we ran it 4 or 5 times, maybe 3. This is against Texas here, the very first week, and I don't know how ready we were for this. I mean, you're going to see our tackle be off sides here pretty quick. And all this really boiled down to is we didn't really think this guy could get here. I wish he would have thrown it to the top right here. I think this is a better place to throw it. But we got 2 guys to block here, throw it here, and we figured we could make something happen. But, you know, this is obviously the better place to throw it. But along with that, you just throw something out there and you know, you're going to have some, I think, growing pains with it, but by the same token, they're going to have a lot of growing pains with it too, because it's something they've never dealt with. Okay, this one we're going to try to go vertical on it. They're rolled up, or so we thought. Okay, and here's what, say he steps off, back off the line of scrimmage. This is, you know, I know it sounds easy and all this, you put that tackle out there, but all of a sudden he's in uncharted territory, you know. So he's going to get back off the ball. They're going to flag us. As time went on, something like this where they just had 4, we'd run it and take our chance, you know, because we had quite a bit of room to either side. Slant here. If we had, the other thing was, and this is just basically part of our hot package and things like that, but if we had inside leverage on this guy, we'd just run the slant. We could do it on either side. This is a pretty good check. We have inside leverage on this guy. There's a big patch of grass here. We can get rid of the quit. Now, one thing, you got jacked here, and you got to be careful of that.
Rather have the tackle take the inside guy, the right tackle?
Yeah, and the thing is the hard thing is and you know, this isn't exactly perfected or anything like that, but the biggest thing is really they just have to take the inside people. Take the inside people, and he takes the outside guy to his side. And you know, as opposed to try to you don't know how they're going to line up, is what it boils down to. So you kind of have to just sort of zone block the thing, which is, you know, not something that we do a lot of, but that's the better way to do it, I think. He needs to hit that guy, he needs to hit that guy, is what I prefer. I prefer he got the inside guy. So some of that was our own, you know, just our own execution, but like I say, we worked on it this particular week. We worked on it a little bit on Monday. I'm going to say we worked on it a little bit on Thursday, and then we, you know, threw it out there and figured we'd see what happened. And then we had some success, so we did a few more times. And see, all we got to do is block this guy here. We have a pretty good thing going here. Just block this guy. Block him. Just move along here a little bit. Okay, then the next week we played Texas A&M, and I figured, all right, if they saw us do it against Texas, they'll be all ready for it. We'll run it once or twice, so if they go over there and start panicking and wondering how many times we're going to run it. And but they've surely got it taken care of, and we'll run 2 snaps of it, and we'll get out of it and try to clutter their coaches' heads with as much as we could, and try to clutter their players' heads with as much as we could, then just get out of it and go on and run our offense. Well, this part here is all these drives are in succession, or all these plays are in succession here. Here's the shuttle pass. They kind of have 4 guys here, but now they got 3 guys here. 3 guys here, runner shuttle pass it. And you know, at times you'll see stuff offensively that, you know, gee, I wish you would have blocked this guy and some stuff like that. But by the same token, defensively, it's like, you know, damn, why didn't he make that tackle? Well, the thing is, they're just unfamiliar with it. Is kind of what I attribute it to. Here we hit the screen. One guy block here, and then we got somebody for that guy. Back goes to get that guy. Shuttle pass it here. And then he kind of came up with this out here on the field, which is pretty good. Started faking the screen to this guy and then shuttle passing it. He does that for about 2 or 3 plays. And this is like, I'm going to say this is maybe our, let's see what kind of time we're talking here. This is probably our 3rd drive, which against A&M I really felt like it was important to us to keep them off balance, because I thought they ran really well, and I thought that, you know, real athletic team, and I didn't want to get in a position where in their mind they could just, you know, tee off on us. Okay, I know, you know, I know where this guy's going to line up, here I come, because, you know, I felt like they ran real well, and I felt like they, you know, they played pretty well defensively. Now, you know, the floodgates kind of open in our game. I've been on both sides of those, you know. I mean, we're not that good, they're not that bad, but I do think one thing that helped us some was pretty early on, and I think that the time to do it isn't late. You want to do it early, and you kind of want to do it when things are going somewhat well. We were up by 7, and we wanted to give them a bunch of problems to deal with, and then as that happened, then I think, you know, a bunch of indecision on their part, and then some things really started going our way. Now on the sideline, you know, I was fired up that it worked, and then we went all the way downfield and stuff like that. And then by the time we got to the 5, you know, then I sort of chickened out and said, well, you know, shit, we're going to run a play we know to score this thing, you know. So then we ran something else. Then we came back to it later in the game. And it still worked then too. Here's that little angle route. Here they tip it. Once again though, I mean, throwing the screen to here really isn't a bad play. I mean, we got 2 block 2. If we just throw it to this guy, we should be in business.
You call it off numbers, Mike, you call it offside.
What's that? You mean?
Did he call it, or?
He called it. We'd work on a couple scenarios in practice, and then he'd call it. But this was kind of an adjustment we did for Colorado. It looked pretty good on the chalkboard. I didn't think it didn't turn out to be worth a damn. We stuck, instead of having the guy back here, we scooted him in here. Trouble with it was as far as all these little screens and things like that, or you know, you're just put in this kind of position where there's not quite enough space to operate, where we were better off when they were spread out. See, they whacked him pretty good here. So, I mean, no matter what you do, I don't suggest doing it that way. Okay, here's another little deal we did. We changed it up a little here. Okay, these guys, we got 2 tackles right here. So we moved both tackles are here. And then we got the tight end here, and then we got 3 receivers here. Same scenario as far as running the ball. Then we could also screen it to this guy here. And then we had just a little route combination here, vertical, slant, and one guy sits there, I believe. Yeah. He runs a fade, he runs a slant, and he runs a swing route. I got tired of seeing him get hit, so I said, move out of there on this deal. But, you know, and like I say, the biggest thing was to get them out of the comfort zone, try to make them deal with a set of problems, and, you know, keep them sidetracked from completely zeroing in on what you really want to run. Screen here. Gotta be careful of this guy. The other thing I was going to talk about that we had some success with, and really because I think it complements the way that we pass protect.
Mike, did anybody play with no safeties and blitz the shit out of it? Did anybody just say, well, everybody was playing like that with safeties?
What they eventually started doing is they put 5 in the box. I don't think anybody did it with no safeties. They basically well, and then we kind of changed it up with that trips look, and they didn't play that with no safety either. I mean, they always had a safety over that trip side. What they eventually started doing was putting 5 in the box right here, just leaving everybody here, you know. And then usually they had a 2 safety look, kind of a guy playing right here and a guy playing right here. And you just find little creases and go from there. And, you know, like the biggest thing on it was, it's not a deal we practiced a great deal. We just line up and 1 or 2 plays, all right, they take it away, we're out of it, you know. But the other thing about it is, I mean, if you think about it from their perspective, I mean, you just let their imagination run wild as far as all the stuff that they're thinking we could run out of it, you know. I mean, we got 1 or 2 plays out of it. Hell, they don't know that. They, you know, plus they don't know which 1 or 2 they are, at least for a while, you know. But anyway, and you know, like I say, if we would have pissed down our leg right away, you know, the first 2, I still think it was worth it, just because, well, shit, you better look out for what they're going to line up in now, you know. The other thing that we had quite a bit of success with was the shuttle pass, and I think it really complements anyway the way we pass protect. The way we pass, we're gonna, with our offensive linemen, we're going to put them as far off the ball as we can. We're also going to get as wide a splits as we can get away with. And, you know, on our splits, we'll start out at 3 feet. And bottom line, we tell them start out at 3 feet. If you're getting whipped, scoot in. If you're whipping their guy, scoot out. And, you know, if this guy's 5 feet out here and he's still whipping his guy's ass, I mean, it just creates lanes and it makes those guys further from the passer. But, you know, if this guy's having trouble and scoots into where he's 1 foot wide, then, and he's still getting whipped, you better find him back or do something to help him, get him help from the center or somebody. But, and the other thing is, you know, what we tell these guys is head back, hands up, get depth, stay square. And I really believe, unless there's a complete physical mismatch, if an offensive lineman can successfully keep his head back, which will keep his hips down, his hands up, and then get depth off the ball, and stay square with the line of scrimmage, and stay square with his man, then he's going to buy some time. I mean, he's going to get, we're going to get our 2.5, 3 seconds that we need to get this done. So then when we run the draw play, now Josh is left-handed, and so we did it to the opposite side. Our draws always went to the right. The biggest thing I think with a draw play, you can go to either side to change it up, but with a right-handed quarterback, I think anytime you run the draw, like with the right-handed quarterback, for the most part, we want to run it to the left. And the reason we do is as he turns like this, he's kind of covering up the play with his body, and so the men on this side that have to make the play can't see the play until just a little bit later, where, you know, if he goes like this whole side can kind of see what's happening. Now, they may bite upfield, they may drop, they may do all that other stuff, and you'll probably still have a good play a lot of times, but I just think the play's concealed better this way when he goes to the left. And then, so he just wants to show pass, obviously, and then what these guys are going to do, get depth, just draw them upfield, and then stay square with these guys right here. I mean, this is the simplest draw play, and everybody runs it since junior high school. But the point of all this is as we're getting depth off the ball, it really lends itself to the shuttle pass that kind of follows. So they're just showing pass. He wants to invite him upfield as far as he can. If this guy does some quick little thing here, he just steps over and covers him, and the quarterback's here. This guy just shuffles over, hands it off to him. Now, you don't know necessarily where the crease is going to be, but the thing is if you buy enough time and let these guys distort their pass lane, something's going to develop. I mean, on the chalkboard, you want it to go to this hole right here, but you know, if this guy does something like this, as long as we got depth, as long as we're square with him, he can take it here, and he runs to daylight. And then what will eventually start happening, and so all they do is they just keep their men covered and they get depth. What will eventually start happening is this guy here, sometimes it's a down lineman. If it's a down lineman, I don't really care, because usually, you know, you're rolling the dice a little, but you can usually outmaneuver that guy, you know, one of those little deals where they drop the nose. I mean, and I know, you know, if the defensive guy's got the chalk, that nose is making the tackle every time. If this running back's the best runner on our team, he might make the tackle sometimes, but he's going to miss it sometimes too. You know, the linebacker will sit in here, and his whole deal is you know, watch the draw, watch the draw, watch the draw. And so, you know, for a while the draw's working, and then this guy's just keying watching the draw. Well, we eventually start doing the shuttle pass, where he's taking the snap, and as he's going back, you know, this guy's thinking, watch the draw, watch the draw, watch the draw. He sees the quarterback go past the running back. He knows he's late on his zone drop because he had to watch the draw. So then he's hauling ass way back there to his zone because he's seen the quarterback pass the back. This back just kind of goes over here like he's going to protect, and then, and the biggest thing, most important thing is both the quarterback and the running back have to be patient. If either one of them's impatient, the whole thing's screwed. Quarterback's got to be willing to just go back, buy time, really sell the fact he's going to throw the ball. The running back wants to get over here, and you know, we've had fast guys that kind of have a good feel for it. We've had slow guys that have a good feel for it. And you know, if you have a guy that's just kind of got a, after a couple reps, you'll get an idea who's really got a pretty good feel for it. But goes over there, sells protection, and then just basically gets behind the center. Quarterback's like this, and then and we just have him turn the thumb down and toss it to him. And then there'll be times where he can't entirely see what's going on. He'll get stuck right here. But there'll also be times where he's rushing upfield, and as much as we pass it, they're all flying upfield. Then he just flicks it to him underneath, and off he goes. And there's not really a whole lot of, there's not a ton of coaching to it outside of the fact that you really got to get those guys to be patient. You can't let them go too fast. The biggest thing is the offensive line will just have to treat it like pass protection, just pass protect. And then once you get these guys patient enough, there's really not a lot of coaching after that. Now, there will be times where there's a big old hole, and you wish you would have ran there, but his eyes are leaving, you know, his eyes are the other direction, and so you're going to have to live with the times that he doesn't necessarily pick the right hole, as long as he's picking pretty good holes.
What do you teach young coverage linemen, Mike?
To get to flash his hands and then get downfield. You know, you want to sell pass, and you want that guy to drop as far as he's willing to drop, but then you also kind of want to get out there pretty quick so that, you know, he doesn't have time to close that gap. I mean, he'll drop to a point, and then he'll start coming forward. Well, you want to keep him removed and stair-stepped to the extent that you can. Oh, this is the wrong tape. Okay, and this is, once again, just cut-ups in succession. You know, there's some good ones and there's some bad ones. This is just the base draw, and as I said, you know, I mean, this year most of our draws are going to go to the left, but Josh is left-handed, so most of ours went to the right. Pass. Show pass and let this guy distort out of the
Backside tackle sips.
he just shows pass. I mean, oh, you're talking about they bring the linebacker?
6 in the box.
Yeah, he takes the inside guy. Wadded up. We just that didn't work the damn there. Well, this was you've seen this. This was Sonny, are the shuttles at the end of this, do you know?
Right there.
Right there.
There we go. Shovels. See, I've heard shuttle, shovel, shuffle. I just got tired of it after a while and just I call it shuttle pass, and everybody else calls it what they want to call it. This is kind of a variation of what I described before. And we just wrote it on the script, you know, because it changed the assignment a little. But we want this tackle to go onto the Sam linebacker, go to the inside. We're just basically going to kind of option this guy. So what he's going to do is he's going to quickly fake to this back, and he's going to hold the ball. He's going to show it to this defensive end who we're not blocking, and then this guy's just going to come underneath and kind of keep shuttle pass pitch relationship to him, and then we're going to flick it to him. Now, if this guy jumps the back, then the quarterback's going to keep it. Our quarterback never kept it, though. And we can do it out of all kinds of formations and little motions, and as long as he's in this neighborhood here, at the snap of the ball, has time to get somewhere over here, we're in pretty good shape. And we want to get an extra blocker and just have the quarterback work his shuttle pass off of him. And the other thing for my purpose is if you miss it, it's an incomplete pass. Same deal here. Tackle's going up here, seals this guy here. We make the pitch up at the end, and we probably could have blocked it a little better. Quick little fake, freeze the linebackers. So he does, and you know, and we basically let this back carry out this fake here also. You know, just let him carry it out, see if we can't freeze these guys. Let this guy get lost behind here. Leave this guy alone. Get an extra blocker here and just pitch it to him. Sometimes we just line him up there. We wouldn't motion him around. We just line him up there. Okay, this is the one I drew up on the board without the little play fake to the fullback. These guys are all just showing pass, and then he's showing pass, and then this guy just kind of gets lost. And you're pretty safe on the thing as long as your quarterback makes a good decision. Make sure that the thing doesn't get caught. It's an incomplete pass. This is, you know, kind of an all-out blitz situation.
Mike, is that bad when the chip, if there's like an A-gap blitz or anything, or is he just gonna let?
This guy here?
Yeah, is your.
No, avoid it. Because the quarterback's eyes are forward and all that. The one thing though, if there is like an A-gap blitz, he needs to get there pretty quick. I mean, we talked about patience. You better not be too very patient on that play, you know. He needs to get there. Just understand that the, you know, the quarterback's got a threat, and that you got to get there and make something happen quick. But the other thing is if, you know, if there's nobody in the middle here like they're doing here, if he gets there quick, you don't really have to sell too much. I mean, the patience is about getting those guys to drop and getting these guys to rush upfield. Well, if they don't have anybody back there to drop, you can afford to make it happen quicker. But you better get there pretty quick to take care of your quarterback. Now, and here's one. Sometimes this will happen. You know, we just really have to sustain this. We got caught in a twist. If they twist, and you catch them twist and you want to log jam, just try to wad them together. Can't give up as much ground, but try to wad these two together, which we didn't get that done here on either side. This is a pretty good job, just letting the thing develop here. Keep showing pass. Get lost here, sell protection a little bit. I think he could have done a better job selling protection. Planted him right here. Well, this is that ninja stuff. You gotta find, you know, we already saw all these with that ninja. Okay, here, I mean, bottom line. Thing is this guy made a better play than we really deserved here. But the one thing I will say, I mean, you know, you think about it, you've got this quick little thing right here. I mean, they're not used to dealing with this set of problems. I mean, you got them thinking pass, oh, it's run, you know. And they're also see the quarterback go past the fullback. Holding. So here's kind of an example of they're looping right here, and if he sees any faces coming through, he wants to just get in pitch relationship right away. They stuck him there. a lot against blitz teams, but you have to make something happen pretty quick, and that guy's got to understand if they blitz to get to the crease quickly. The 3 minute. Both of these deals are pretty simple. You know, what I like about the shuttle pass is it complements a lot of what we do, and there's really no coaching time to it. I mean, there's a little bit of film time where you just zero in and you say, all right, make sure this guy's covered. You got to be more patient and like that. But there's not a great deal of coaching time, and we've, you know, various times had a lot of success with it. And those are, I mean, these are our cut-ups right here. This is just in succession. Those are the good ones and the bad ones right there in a row. And any time I felt like they're coming upfield pretty hard, you know, had their ears laid back, I felt like that was a pretty good time to call it. You know, I'll be around here through tomorrow. If anybody's got any questions, or if anybody's got any questions now, I'll be happy to answer them. If they're curious about anything we do. I appreciate it, and look forward to talking to all you.